But let's jump into the next segment. I want to thank Bill for being on the MPJ topic. It was fun to just find out about some of these Patriots because you never it's a small world. I'll just put it that way.
Very small world.
It's very funny though. Well, let's jump into our next one. We're going to be talking about the Hawks and the Kings. A report came out saying that the Hawks and Kings would both pass on Luka Doncic if he is available at the 2 and 3 spots, assuming that the Suns go with DeAndre Ayton. It would look like the Kings and Hawks would be passing on Luka Doncic. Let's first see through the bullshit. Is this true or is this jockeying?
No, I think it's true.
Okay, why?
The thing that
are you believing everything you read? Like,
No,
what gives you this inkling? Because he fits in their system. He fits their position needs.
Here's the thing I think of, and this is my whole thing is I think this has more truth than smokescreen. Like, there's either two things that this says to me. One, that they don't want Luka Doncic, and even if he's there, they'd pass on him. Or two, and this is what I don't think is true, but you can also read into this, is that there may be some truth to what we heard last week. Like we talked about, ESPN has a story about Luka, and he's not sure if he'll come over. Well, do they know something that we don't while scouting him, that there's more of a real chance that he would not come over? I'm not going that way. I'm going in another way. And for me, because of this news, I'm going to bring in a third team, the Phoenix Suns. If I'm the Phoenix Suns, what I'm doing now is I'm trying to drive that price on DeAndre Ayton, saying like, we're going to draft, like, he's our favorite guy, yada, 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 to try to then get one of the teams like the Hawks maybe to trade so that they can take Ayton at 1 and I can take Luka at 3.
A la the Celtics,
exactly.
76ers flip. I mean, what ESPN's Jonathan Giovanni reported on Saturday said there's a belief among some NBA decision makers that the Sacramento Kings and Atlanta Hawks, who have the 2nd and 3rd overall picks respectively, could pass on Dončić in favor of American front court players. One thing I do want to throw out there, and this is going to feed into you. I don't know if it's true, but I think it's one thing that maybe it's a report from the Suns, because this is getting into tinfoil. So we've been in our rooms too long, so I'm kind of been breathing in your fumes. But it's one thing if the Suns do want to trade down, they do want Luka, but they think that these teams like the Kings and Hawks respectively, they want a guy like DeAndre Ayton. And you look at Ryan McDonough, just gave ESPN like one of the scoops of the century, saying, we might look to trade the number 1 pick to get a veteran. And then they also get the report saying that now they're locked down, not going to be trading the pick for McDonough. So it seems like they have some connections with the Suns organization. So maybe it plays into you. Maybe the Suns are feeding that information, saying, in pretty much giving the Kings and Hawks hope, saying that Luka Doncic is going to be available for you. If you want DeAndre Ayton, you're going to have to trade up and flip with us. So maybe that part is true. But I find it odd, Dave, that these two teams would pass up on arguably the safest and some would argue the best prospect in this draft. Are you buying into this report?
I'm not buying a ton into it. I think it's more so just like they're trying to see what the value is. If someone is interested in Luka, we're ears are open. We're listening to offers. Yeah. Because I don't think either one of these teams maybe loves him. I think the Kings, I think Vlade would love to have him on the team. I think that fit-wise, they could make it work. Yes, they already have a crowded backcourt, but he is still someone you take the player, you don't take the fit at that point in the draft. For Atlanta, I think it comes down to they've got a lot of question marks on that team. So if they can get a haul for him, why not? Why not? They've got a lot of pieces to fill in. I would still be in the camp of take him at 2, take him at 3, take him whenever he's available. I feel like this is either the Suns doing their game to try to move back, or it's both these teams, people being like, you know what? If you guys love him that much, let's hear what you're going to offer me.
And here's the thing I think of, and maybe you guys can tell me if I'm wrong. We haven't, maybe it's because he's an overseas player, we haven't really heard a team come out and say, we love Luka. Like that we've had where we talk about the Clippers having interest in Michael Porter Jr. We talk about X team like the Suns. Oh, we really like DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
There hasn't been really a team anywhere that said, we like Luka. Like Luka's our main guy. I don't know if that's because he's overseas, because of the questions with overseas players, except the last two, I believe, that came over. KP was one of those, doing really well in the NBA right now, except for his injury. I think that this could be, I don't think it's the Suns trying to do anything. I just think it's the Kings and the Hawks looking at it and going, hey, you know what? There are some bigs here. I think the Kings could now at 2 have a choice between if Ayton's gone at 1, like many people think, well, do we go with a Mo Bamba for the center? Do we look at Marvin Bagley for more of the 4 can slide over to the 5? What do we do with more of our bigs? And the Hawks are the same way because unless they move Dennis Schroeder, I don't see them going
The
with
Kings
Luka.
one I don't understand, to be honest with you. I mean, we talk about their depth at not only the backcourt because they have, obviously Bogdanović, they have Buddy Hield, they have De'Aaron Fox, but also you look at their power forwards position and they already have not Shea Gilgeous, but they have Scala Bissier and they have Harry Giles, who apparently is tearing it up in practice now. So, I look at it, and why would you be going, if DeAndre Ayton's off the board, why would you be going with a Marvin Bagley? Why would you be going with a Triple J? Maybe Bamba, but again, I think that's even a stretch right there. Luka Doncic has proven that he's a winner. Luka Doncic has proven that he's a competitor. Luka Doncic is playing his ass off right now overseas, just won the Euro Cup for Real Madrid. He right now he's balling out right now as an 18-year-old, and it's not something where it's an Evan Fournier, not an Evan Fournier, a Mario Hezonja thing where Hezonja was over there putting up 7 points a game. Luka Doncic was the MVP in the championship game, in the Final Four.
Situation.
He's dominating over there as an 18-year-old. He's been a professional since the age of 13. It doesn't make sense to me that these two teams would pass him up because he fits their teams. And I don't know if it's something where teams, blatantly come out and say, we love this guy. Obviously, I think the Suns said if Ayton was there, and this was a couple months ago, if Ayton was there, they'd draft him. But also that's something where, again, you take bits and clips of what McDonough says, and maybe I didn't hear the clip, I didn't read the full interview, but what we've heard is if he's there, we'll take him at number 1. Reading a ton of, just journalism throughout my life so far, that could be a clip where, oh, hey, what do you think about DeAndre Ayton? If he's there, we'll take him. That's something where you take that. It's not a commitment to taking him. It's just something where, again, he's saying that they have interest in him. I don't know how much teams come out and just say, we love X, Y, and Z. Like, they're not going to tell you their draft board flat out.
Well,
no, they're not. I mean,
the Lakers came out yesterday. That was creepy. The Lakers came out yesterday, interest in Luka Doncic. Just said
do they have the ammo?
They don't have any ammo.
Sign and trade with Julius Randle to the Mavericks is the one thing that I've seen on a couple of these articles.
Is that going to do it for the 5th pick?
It'd be something else, I have to assume. But Kevin Pelton came out yesterday. Lakers have rumored to be high on Dončić, which makes sense considering the potential fit alongside Lonzo Ball. They don't appear to be positioning themselves for a trade for the top 5 pick, though. So that's the question is, if they like him, how much would they have to give up for him? But that's at least one team who has said something outspoken about the interest.
Well, and to me, the thing there's a team that could trade, let's say the Lakers, we'll use that because you said they're interested. A team could trade up if he gets past 3, but the thing I'm looking at is more so the Suns. And the trade that I came up with, just so that you guys can kind of see what you think, a la the 76ers and the Celtics, this would be a draft day trade. Hawks move up to 1. They take Ayton. Suns then move down to 3. Hey, we don't need to take Luka at 1. We can take him at 3 because the Hawks are going to pass on him. And the only extra thing that the Suns would get is the 2019 Cleveland first rounder, because the thing about that is the Hawks own their own and they owned Cleveland's first round pick. So they're going to send that pick over to the Suns, and that one is a protected, 11 through 30? So if LeBron leaves Cleveland, good chance that the Cavs could be in the top 10, and boom, you get Cleveland's first-round pick, which could be a top 10 pick. You'll either get that in 2019 or 2020.
Well, and one thing, too, I think this was in the Pelton thing where he mentioned the Lakers and Luka. Him and Giovanni on ESPN.com had a discussion, and what Pelton asked him was, how strong is your suspicion that Luka could fall out of the top 3? And he said, barring a trade, I say Dončić being drafted in the top 3 is no better than a 50-50 chance. I felt an increasing disparity the past few months between the public's bullish perception of Dončić, which we share, and what NBA executives say privately. So let's talk about why Luka would be falling. Because, again, he's proving it right now overseas. Again, 18 years old. He's been playing
19
professionally.
now.
19 now. Thank you. I know we would have gotten called out for that.
Yeah,
but again, 18, 19 years old. He's a guy that's been playing professionally since about 14, 15 years old. Again, just lit it up in the EuroLeague, taking one of the best teams in that league and leading them to a championship. Yes, he wasn't super consistent, but he did have big performances in big games. What would be at least the reason why he falls out? Is it just because of international perspectives, Dave, or is it something in his game? People bring up athleticism. Is that a driving factor where we see so many athletic freaks in this draft, like a Mo Bamba, like a Marvin Bagley, like a DeAndre Ayton? Yeah. Is it that's what's even Michael Porter Jr. Is it that's what's setting apart Luka? Is the fact that he's isn't an eye-popping athlete, even though he's a very well-rounded player?
Yeah, I think that's one. It's a combination of that plus the lack of hits on overseas players over the years. I mean, there's a problem when you can't build a trend of this is the way you draft successfully for Euro players, because they can go anywhere from first round or second round or undrafted. We've seen hits all across the board. There's no real. I know there's no draft science, but we have an idea generally.
I mean,
of
wasn't
what we're
Giannis
looking
like 13th overall and he was overseas?
I want to say yeah. But I mean, like there's guys everywhere across the draft. You can see success. So I think trying to say that, nope, this is why he is this good. His body, he's 6'8" at age 19. Like, his muscles he's still building. He's not on an NBA diet. He's not with NBA trainers. So the athleticism right now, yes, totally in question. But I think that's something that he can improve. And I'm surprised if that would be something that people are like, he can never get quicker. His first step will never be faster.
The only reason why I could see him fall is if I was at 2 or 3. The only thing that would make me pass on Luka Doncic, if there was the smallest, I'm not saying like 1%, I'm saying like an actual, like maybe 15% chance that he doesn't come over right away.
Well, and that's one thing that I was going to get into.
Does this then mean that the news we heard last week, maybe there's a little bit more fire to that smoke?
And in the same article, Giovanni does say we should point out whether or not Dončić goes in the top 3 will be determined by evaluations from Phoenix, Sacramento, and Atlanta. Doncic's advisors also can try to influence his destinations. Here's how that can work. Doncic is declared for the draft, but he's still under contract with Real Madrid. With a buyout, he'll need to contribute towards and is not committed to leaving Europe next season, though it would be surprising if he elected to stay. And then he also Doncic has one of the most experienced agents in the industry, Bill Duffy, handling his business affairs with NBA teams. There's little doubt that for a player of his caliber, there are significant differences among his potential landing spots regarding the perceived stability of the organization's experience integrating European players, particularly in regard to the coaching staff and type of complementary talent on the roster. Market size and potential endorsements could play a role here as well, especially for a player with as much star quality as Dončić has. So he's trying to vie for a place that's built European talent before, a team that has the ability to have a large market size, already has talent on their team, and a team that won't suck right away. And let's be honest, there are some a little bit of hints that each team can offer. Atlanta,
right.
A fairly decent market size. In so far, they've built up stars before. I mean, we've seen the Atlanta Hawks, the Falcons. We've seen the Braves, really latch on to Atlanta before. Phoenix, pretty decent market. They have Dev Book, and we look at least the Kings. Again, they have young talent. They're in California, but not really that large of a market. And we've seen at least Bogdanović come over, and then they do at least have that European side. Also, Vlade, being a part of it, that might play into a factor as well. Which team out of the top 3 kind of fits all of those needs that Luka Doncic has had? Maybe not perfectly, but at least best. Reading all that, taking all that in, which team do you think would actually shoot for Dončić? Maybe they don't go for him, but at least which team do you think has the most to offer Dončić and his agent?
Outside the top 3?
No, in the top 3. In the top 3, we'll go outside, but first in the top 3.
I think for me it's easy. It's the Suns because they have the thing I would worry most about Luka has nothing to do with his basketball play. It would all come down to you're coming into a brand new situation.
Yep.
You're going to be living in a country you've never lived before.
Yep.
And what's going to be one of your rocks? Having a guy who knows you, having a coach that has coached you before.
Sean,
and
what's
can
that coach's
be that
name?
Mentor for you, Igor.
Igor Koshkovo.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see if we said it right this time. But I mean, the thing. Here's something that I think about, and there's a situation that actually is kind of similar to this. Niko Mirotic, drafted by the Bulls, not as high as Luka, but still drafted around 20 years old. So he was drafted when he was 20, didn't come over until he was 24. Like, if you're Luka, do you go that route where it's like, hey, I'm 19, I don't necessarily have to play for a sucky Suns, Kings, or Hawks team right now. Let me sit back, see what you do, and then I'll come over.
I don't know about that because, again, the talent isn't going to... Talent's different than him and Nico. I mean, the biggest thing is he's going to go top 10. Yeah.
But my thing is, for Luka, one of the things he could leverage is, no, I'm not going to play for your crappy team until, even if I come over at 24, I'm still right before my prime and then into my prime.
And Dave, I want to throw out something with that. I mean, even though Ricky says the best fit is the Suns, let's look at Bogdanovich. He was a part of that trade where the Suns moved up to get Marquise Chris. I'm sorry, the Kings moved up to get Marquise Chris. And for that, the Suns added in Bogdanovich to that package. So... I mean, is Phoenix really the best place? Yes, they have Koshkovo. Yes, they have Devin Booker. But is the market size big enough? Do they have that pedigree of developing international players enough where Luka would be comfortable to going to Phoenix?
Yeah, I was leaning heavily towards the Kings as the favorite as far as nailing down those key points that you were mentioning earlier. I think being in Sacramento, yes, I know it's not LA, but it's still California. It's still a fairly large market, and you're close enough to everything that you're still getting the impact of that. European talent on that team, yes, you just mentioned Bogey being, a very successful rookie year. I know he's a little bit older, but he is a well-rounded player. Same thing, and they've had European players before. It's not like the Kings are unfamiliar; they're very familiar with Euros. So I think that, and the overall talent on the team, like you said, De'Aaron Fox, we all love. Buddy Hield looks like a knockdown shooter for the next decade plus. You add in Harry Giles, who we all hope can live up to the hype that people are building him up to. I think that this is a team that has a ton of talent top to bottom. It's just they're very young, they're very raw. You need to make sure they have the right coach there. But outside of coaching question, I think that's the team you want to be on out of those top three.
Well, one thing Giovanni mentions is the Kings are also worth mentioning. This is talking about where he'll end up landing. They were reportedly one of the teams that were highest on MPJ before they moved up from number 7 to number 2 in the lottery. They would they look to slide down a few slides to take Porter and pick up another asset in the process. They don't have a draft pick in either round in 2019 at the moment, which has to be a little scary considering how far away they are from contending from a playoff spot. Yep. So again, he fits the system. They fit a position they need. And then again, you mentioned the Bogdanovich thing. So which team would end up winning? I mean, right now the Hawks really aren't in it for what we've mentioned so far. I would agree with you that it's either the Kings or the Suns. Which team do you think has that leverage? I mean, taking all of that into account, because Phoenix, again, might be a bigger market. Sacramento isn't a crazy large market. They don't have a massive fan support. Neither does Phoenix, but both teams have sucked recently. Yep. I mean, which team do you think offers the most to him? Ricky, are you still sticking with the Suns? Because, I mean, again, it's not clear cut. I mean, and also one thing, too. I mean, would the Suns take him at number 1?
No.
So
I don't think they take him at number 1. The only way they take him is if they do a trade for
so would you lean to the 4. Kings then, just because it's more apparent that they might be taken on the top 3?
And here's the thing that both the Suns and the Kings have to deal with, and maybe the Kings are coming to terms with this. If we add Luka, does that necessarily, we've got all the talent that Dave listed, but if we add Luka, is adding Luka going to be enough to not only make us a playoff team in the West, but really the goal is not only do we have to get over the Warriors now, we got to get over the Rockets too.
So now there's the timelines aren't even close.
No, but I mean,
by the time the Kings are going to be in their prime, the Rockets are going to be retired. The Warriors are going to be broken up by then. So neither one of those are even going through my mind.
But there's also other teams in the West that are also building up as well.
Mean, Lakers.
Yes, but you have a team where
by that time, is it like, all right, maybe we don't have to deal with these two teams, but then all these teams that are building up, does he push us over and make us one of those top teams?
I mean, Utah's fairly young. We look at New Orleans. I mean, Anthony Davis, for as long as he's been in the league, he's still a young kid. Probably going to be 30 in the next 6 years, I think. You look at Minnesota, still young. Nuggets, Clippers, Lakers, like I mentioned, and even Dallas, Memphis, and Phoenix, too. So I think one thing, though, and it's really, will he actually fall out of the top 3? Let's answer that question.
No.
Is he going to fall out of the top 3? Because talent-wise, he's not. But again, we talk about the leverage. We talk about whether he's going to come over or not. Will he actually fall out of the top 3?
I'm saying no.
Which team takes him then?
I'm going with my prediction of Suns take him at 3. They get the third pick, 2019 Cleveland pick, and Hawks get the number 1.
Dave, I know you love him. I know you absolutely love him. Yep. Try to separate yourself from that. Is he gonna fall to the top 3? Because again,
I think there's a realistic chance he does.
What are you with Giovanni where he says
50-50?
50-50? Maybe 75% he's a top 3 pick, 25% he's not a top 3?
Yeah, I think it's pretty heavy towards top 3, but I'll give it like 20-25% chance he falls, which is still a lot.
Dave's dying. It's all right. We've been doing 4 segments now. Dave's been dying.
Dave's been a trooper, man. He's done 3 podcasts today.
Yeah. So I mean, it's one thing where again, it's something where
this is the kind of dedication we get, Sean.
Okay. But yeah, I mean,
sorry, I can go on a little bit.
Okay. We stalled enough.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, I think it's about like 20-25% chance he falls out of the top 3, and that's purely because, like you said, there's all these rumors starting to come out. And I start looking at these teams who are, like Ricky said, latching on to that, more athletic, larger guys in this draft class. And if people are looking for bigs, like, I can respect if you're choosing because you're like, I think Mohamed Bamba, I think Triple J, I think guys like Marvin Bagley are all more valuable because we see the big as the way to counter all this, these undersized wings, these undersized guys out there. We can totally change the game going forward. If you don't think that Luka's the guy because he doesn't have that exact fit into the NBA game right now because you're like, he's an oversized 2, he's a 3, is he really a 1 then because he's the primary ball handler? Like, I think that leads to a lot of questions. I think being versatile in today's NBA age, well, yes, teams like the Celtics see that as, we'll take every wing you've got. I think other teams are very timid and they're not sure, where would he fit on our team?
I want to jump in real quick because we brought this question up. I forget who it was, but where he would fit on our team.
Yeah.
But it's something where it's not really. Again, I think it's something where we're trying to put him into a hole.
Right.
But he can't be. I mean, I think where would he fit on his team more means he's versatile rather than we need to find a spot for him. Because again, this is a guy that he can play the 3 for you. He's an oversized 2. If you need him to be the secondary ball handler, if you need him to work off screens, I think he can effectively do that. He's a fairly decent shooter. And then he can be a number 1. He could be a primary ball handler. Let's look at Ben Simmons. I mean, completely different players, but again, you can be 6'8" and still be a point guard. Let's look at LeBron James. Let's look at Giannis Antetokounmpo. These guys, you don't really need to be a certain size anymore to be a number 1, to be a number 2, to be number 3. You bring versatility, and I think he can guard 1 through 3. I mean, maybe not right now. Maybe he'll need some time to age in the NBA, but I don't think he's going to be like Steph Curry where they're hiding him on defense. I think he's a guy that's going to be at least fairly decent on defense, and he can effectively guard the 1 through 3. It's going to be certain to matchups, but I don't think he's going to be able to guard LeBron James out there. But I think he can guard a fair amount of players in the NBA. I think he brings versatility to a team. And for the Atlanta Hawks and for the Sacramento Kings, it would be stupid for them to pass on Luka Doncic. And I think even the Suns, too. It'd be stupid for them to pass on Luka.
I don't know if it'd be stupid. It's
okay, again, this is my opinion. It'd be stupid for them to pass on it. Because this is someone who is a competitor. This is a kid who's been doing it at a professional level. I'm coming around on Luka Doncic because, again, this is a guy that has been playing so much basketball. We've seen so much from him. And yes, he's not there every single night. But he's 18 years old, was just named the MVP of the second best professional league in all of the world, put up good numbers in the Euro tournament last year. I mean, this guy's been doing it. He's been in the trenches. He's been playing professional ball. He hasn't quit. He's been a leader, and he's 18 years old. 19. I get it. He's not 19. I'm used to saying 18. Sorry. Happy birthday, Luka Doncic. But it's something where, again, I just look at him, and this is so much. The maturity level is so developed, and maybe you get that from other players, but Luka's showing it on the floor, and that's what I want from my players. And I think the Suns would be stupid to pass up Luka Doncic. I think the Kings would be stupid to pass up Luka Doncic. I think the Hawks would be stupid to pass up Luka Doncic. And if the Grizzlies have the opportunity to take him at 4, I think they'd be throwing a parade in Memphis, down Beale Street, having a blast because Luka Doncic would be a perfect fit for any NBA team. We talk about Mikal Bridges fitting that 3-and-D scenario, but you're not going to get the leadership you will from Luka Doncic. You're not going to get the ability to at least be a guy that you plug into every single hole.
The basketball IQ even.
Mikal Bridges is a guy that is a great 3-and-D player. Luka Doncic is a great basketball player. This is a guy that you cannot pass up. And maybe, again, for the Suns, you look at that athleticism, you look at that 7-foot-tall freak of nature in DeAndre Ayton. If you want to take him, fine, whatever. He fits your need. But I think you'd be missing out on one of the safest picks and also one of the smartest picks in Luka Doncic here. Again, that's just my opinion.
The first thing that it popped into my head while you were talking, it was funny how one of the mock drafts we did, I had him fall all the way to 7.
Yeah, God.
And we were like, oh, there's no way he falls out of the top 3. And now we're even proposing the question that it does.
It's fair. It's fair to point out, Ricky.
The Suns,
as one that usually toots their own horn, I totally get the victory lap.
The Suns, though, to me, are the team where I'll give you that. If the Suns don't draft him, I think that's stupid. I think they're the best out of the top 3, the most equipped to be the best team for Luka Doncic. The thing with the Kings and the Hawks, though, is the Hawks would be almost my second one, where it's like, all right, maybe you shouldn't pass on them. The Kings, though, like I'm starting to think Marvin Bagley's their guy. Like a guy
Kings?
a guy who, like you hear him in interviews and he doesn't want to be a 4, doesn't want to be a 5, kind of wants to be that positionless big. Where it's like I can do a lot of things. And like talking to Dave before you even got here today, where it's like imagine him at the 5, like a Harry Giles, like running the court in the 5-4. Like you can then move him over to the 4 if you have Willie Cauley-Stein in. And then it's like the Hawks, it comes down to what do you think of Mo Bamba at that point? Like, to me, the big would be the 5, would be the position that they would really need. If they're going to keep Dennis Schroeder and be like, we're not playing into your childish demands, Mo Bamba could be a good pick for them, and that might be enough to then skew these 2 guys or these 2 teams away from Dončić.
So do you and are you still, like, end of the day, are you still sticking with the Suns trading back?
Yes. Right now is...
If they don't trade back, what happens?
If they don't trade back...
If the Suns don't trade back to take DeAndre at
then
number
I
1,
think
how far does he fall?
Maybe to the Grizzlies would be an interesting pick. If it doesn't get traded...
He doesn't get past 4.
Then Ayton goes to the Suns. I would have Bagley to the Kings. Mo Bamba then to the Hawks.
And he doesn't get past 4.
I don't know if the Grizzlies take Dončić. I probably would because the Grizzlies could take anything, but are they going to make a trade with the Clippers? Like, what's going to go on? And if there's a trade and the Clippers do Michael Porter Jr., then he falls to the Mavericks. Are the Mavericks going to take him? Will the Magic take him? There's no way he gets past 7. But I don't think he's going to go that far.
If the Magic get him, first off, our boy Vagberg on Twitter is going to fucking
lose his shit.
Flip his shit.
There's no way either. Depending on how far he falls, there is no way he gets past. The only way he gets past the Magic is if they make a trade, and there's no way he gets past the Bulls. But I really don't want to see Doncic in a Bulls uniform.
Hater.
I would rather see Michael Porter Jr., but that's just me being personal. That's not anything with it. I just would rather see MPJ over Dončić.
Dave, where do you see your boy Luka ending up?
Oh, where do I think he'll end up at?
Yeah. Is he going to be taking number 1? Are you with Ricky that he's going to fall out of the top, or he might fall out of the top 4 if the trade doesn't happen? What are you thinking after we've
I think it's likely that he goes 2 to the Kings or 4 to the Mavs. Okay. Or 4 to the Grizz. I mean, he could fit on the Mavs on 5, but like I think those are the 2 spots. It's 2 or 4. Personally, I don't think he goes any further than 4. But if you see, Porter have amazing workouts with teams, then the Kings could take Porter. Things could happen at 3. He could fall down. Yeah, I 4, 5.
4 at the worst?
4 or 5 now. I'm like hedging my bet.
Oh, come on, nut up. Where's he going? 4 or 5?
He'll go 4.
All right. Let us know where you think Luka Doncic is going to end up after the 2018 NBA draft is said and done. Will the Kings take him at 2? Will the Hawks take him at 3? Will the Suns take him at 1? Or will he trade back, like Ricky Widmer saying? Will he end up in a Memphis Grizzlies uniform, maybe falls all the way to Dallas? Let us know what you think about Luka Doncic. And I'm going to be real honest with these people. We already recorded Jake's segment, so we hope you enjoy Jake's Patreon segment, which is up next. And I'm going to do something fun, a little Tony Reali kind of like tossing the baseball. We're going to be tossing
hit the camera.
We're tossing the water bottle. Hope you have a good one. Hope you enjoy Jake.
You almost hit that chair leg.